Good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening. Welcome to the Pivotal Podspective. A slightly different show this evening as I'm holding a microphone. We'll come to why I'm doing that in a moment. But I'm your host, Elliot Brown, of course, and my wonderful co-host,
Adrian Dorobantu.
And this is the show where we chat to our guest extraordinaires from all over the globe about all sorts of things, how they've done, where they've got to, what they do. And we want to learn how to pivot from every guest, every conversation. We're on a quest for that, aren't we, Adrian?
Exactly, we are. And tonight it's quite special, being a first time doing some new things, especially for you.
Yeah.
And we have two very lovely ladies with us. You
We
want to
do.
see who's the first one?
We do. We have Linda Krause Barnett. What a great name. Who's in Florida, isn't she?
Exactly, yeah.
And she likes to help women undergo a life reboot through some simple mind hacks. I'm reading it from down here, guys. Just bear with me. Some simple mind hacks and motivational resets. She helps people to upgrade their soul software. I love that. To reach the next level of their happiness and life satisfaction. And our other guest is?
It is Helen Munshi, who is a content strategy, business and content strategist. Maybe you can read more about that. You can tell a bit more about her, but that's all I have now.
Yeah, and Pinterest, which is cool, and we definitely want to find out about that. We've spoken about that in a few shows. Helen says, rather than pile on confusion, she's about decluttering and simplifying your business, boiling it down to how your clients can find you, love you, and buy from you. I love that. How to drive traffic to your website using Pinterest, and this is something that we haven't used, and we definitely want to talk about. So forget social media. Pinterest is where it's at. Oh, that's a powerful thing to say. We're going to find out why she thinks that, and I'm sure she's got some great answers for us. So without further ado, let's move on and bring our wonderful guests onto the show. Good evening.
Hi,
Hello,
good evening.
How are we both?
Very good. Loving that welcome. Like, I love it. You can wander around with that cheer going on in the background the whole time.
I love being applauded.
See, Adrian, I told you they liked it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm Grinch, so that's why when he said some of us don't like it. I like the sound. I would like the audience to be a bit more, let's say, have a face to them, or a bit more animated, a bit more from later 2000 rather than early 90s.
Yeah, you're probably right. Oh, yeah, we did have some videographer company from the States that's actually offered to do one for us. And I think maybe we'll take them up on that. It's a bit two-dimensional, but we make do with what we do. We're renegade. I keep saying that we're renegade. I mean, look, I don't know if you can see this, but this background actually moves a little bit. But we'll come back to that in a little while and let you know where we are right now, where I am right now. But let's find out where you guys are right now. Linda, where are you?
So I am in Florida in the States, where it's normally sunny, but today it happens to be extremely rainy.
Okay, well, it's raining in the UK a lot, and as Helen knows, because where are you, Helen?
Yes, I'm based in Guildford, near London. It has been thunder and lightning here today, actually. We had a bit of
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm up north for a change, not in Essex, and it hasn't been a bad day, to be honest. We haven't had the thunder and lightning, so you're welcome to it, Helen. And in fact, you're both welcome to it. Well, Adrian, what's it like in where you are in sunny Romania?
It's not sunny anymore. I was hoping you're not gonna ask me that, but so from today the weather started to be a bit crappy and it started to rain a bit. It was still sunny, but from tomorrow it's gonna be bad for about 5 days.
Yeah, well, I think we're all getting rain everywhere, but
we're going to have to create the sunshine.
We have got a sunny disposition between us all, haven't we? Let's face it.
Absolutely.
So, Helen, we're going alphabetically, so we can't be, prejudiced either way or one way or the other for any reason at all. Listen, Pinterest is an interesting subject. Tell us a little bit about why, really, you think Pinterest is the way forward to get yourselves out there. I'm curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will state at the beginning, I love social media. I'm not a downer on social media for sure, but Pinterest for me is the absolute best way to drive free organic traffic to your website day in, day out. And the reason for that is basically it is not social media. So forget having to show up, forget having to be like super engaging and videos and all these kind of things. So Pinterest is basically, it's a search engine. It's a pretty Google. So just as you are on Google, you're not having to put your face out there all the time. You are literally providing incredible content, incredible value for your customers. And they're there to shop. 87% of people who have been on Pinterest have bought because of Pinterest. So that is a bucket load of people waiting to buy from you, to hear from you. That's why I love it. You know, it's evergreen. It's all the things that social media you want social media to be, but it really isn't. Yeah, absolutely.
I like that, and it's something a few people have recommended using Pinterest for what we're doing here. You know, because I don't think there's loads of people doing what we're doing, you know, on Pinterest. I think there's probably a useful use for it, and of course, in the business world and business arena, there's possibly a way of maybe selling something through that. So it's quite interesting. Okay, and so how long have you been sort of, you know, around the sort of Pinterest arena? Because it's been around quite a long time, right?
Yeah, definitely. I've been, I think it was a little bit later than I planned my wedding. So I've probably been on it about 9 years or so. So yeah, post date of my wedding predated me starting my business. So probably about 9 years. And it's, I would say it accounts for probably 90% of the traffic to my website, to my clients' websites. So it's big business. And I've still got traffic from pins I probably posted 2 years ago. And really? I mean, can you name me a single post on your Instagram, like TikTok, you know, whatever it is, which you're still getting stuff from 2 years ago? Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the reasons I love it. And it's part of a marketing plan. It's not everything I do, you know, I'm still on social media and so on, but it's a good tool.
Yeah. Well, you're a content strategist, so obviously you pick and choose what works best for whatever application, whatever situation, right? But Pinterest is definitely the one that gets. And it's good because it doesn't get talked about as much. Obviously, you know, it's all about Instagram, it's all about TikTok, it's all about Facebook, you know, and LinkedIn. But you don't get many people talk about Pinterest, which is what made my ears prick up when, you know, obviously you came on and wanted to come on the show, and I thought, yeah, definitely, we don't talk about it enough at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, people are on there. Your target market is definitely on there, and it is more than just like I said, wedding planning. It's more than outfits. It's more than like all those kind of things. So yeah, very cool, very cool. Well, we're going to be finding out a little bit more about that and your ideas on how we can leverage Pinterest. And Linda, you are a Reboot. Life Reboot. Remind me, I'm all over the place. Right, guys, Adrian, help me out here.
Seeker, life rebooter, whatever you want to call me.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I published a book earlier this summer called Reboot Your Life, Bring Back Your Spark.
Yeah.
And the basic inspiration was like, you know, we go through these ups and downs in life. So we crash, we come back up, we crash, we come back up. We learn lessons, but then do we really take them into the next challenge? Because if we did, we wouldn't constantly be trying to spiral out of and get out of our own way. And so in trying to kind of fix my own problems and get out of my own way, I was trying to find what is a mind hack? What is a hack that I could use that's something that's, you know, I didn't want to go through a process that was going to take a year because I felt like I'd already wasted 10 in a stuck mindset. So I was like, how can I mind hack this? How can I shortcut this? And not that it was a magic pill and it took overnight, but I realized how relatable we are to software and hardware in our electronic devices. And so it started me thinking that every time something doesn't work on our computer, on our phones, what's the first thing you hear? Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on? And I was like, that's it. You know, when you feel stuck, when that wheel is spinning out of control, and it's just no matter what buttons you press on your computer and no matter what you do, nothing changes, nothing works until you decide to turn it off. And then there's always that pause. They always say, turn it off and wait, because it's in that wait that we like upgrade our system and we get the software upgrade so that when you turn yourself back on, your soul software back on, you're pivoted and you're moving in a different direction and it just felt like such an easy connection to make because we've already got that analogy so embedded in our life.
Yeah. I love that. I think we all need a reboot at times, to be fair. And
I think this whole year needs a reboot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but we do. We reboot every night. I mean, if you don't sleep very well, if you don't sleep, you're not rebooting properly, are you?
You're turning off. Exactly.
That's the most standard thing, isn't it? I'm going, Adrian. You're going to jump in there.
Yeah. It's just like I think even if every night it's let's say a more common one, but at least every few months you definitely need a reboot. And talking about maybe a job or something, my reboot is usually every 2 years, so that's why I never really spend more than 2 years in a job because it gets boring after that. So it needs a reboot, So reboot is always welcome.
Yeah, it's like when we get that update on our phones and it says there's a new update available, we don't have a way to say yes we want the upgrade or no we don't, because it's assumed that we want the upgrade. We want to go faster and be better. And it's no different to us when we have the opportunity to ask ourselves, like, I'm stagnant, I'm stuck, my spark is gone, what can I do? It's accept the upgrade, say yes to the up-leveled software of your system, knowing that you're going to find a new version of you on the other side of that.
Yeah.
What do you do when that update is crap? Because it happens, lately.
It does happen.
That's a good question.
For me, when I turned off and waited and really sank into that, it was trying to reconnect to, your purpose changes throughout your life. We seem to think that everything's so linear, but the truth is, as you evolve into your life, you become a spouse or you become a parent or you gain new skills and new knowledge, then what your purpose is, what your mission is, changes. And so you have to adapt to your own dreams. As your dreams grow, you have to pivot your soul so that you follow your dreams. And it's when our dreams scare us, when we stay stuck in comfort and are afraid of discomfort, that we don't reboot the software because it just seems like insurmountable. But I think that that's where it would seem incomprehensible if someone said, okay, your phone has all these upgrades, but you're going to decline it, right? Because you just like how things are going slow and how your phone has bugs and how it just gets stuck every 2 seconds. You really like that, and of course, no one would say yes to that. We would all accept it and say, when is the next update coming? When is the next software upgrade coming so that I can make my phone even better than it was before? And I think that mindset needs to be applied to our life. Like, am I stuck? Am I moving forward? Are my dreams getting bigger? Am I inspired and fired up by the things that I think about and the goals that I'm making for myself? And if you're not, then I think that that's a big red flag, that maybe you need to reboot some area of your life so that it matches your intention and your heart and your purpose.
See, I quite like the fact that you've picked on something that is an analogy, in essence, to work along with tech, because it's quite millennial. It's clever, Linda. I get that. Do you and on that, do you work with younger people because of the way that you approach it like that? So people sort of get that sort of, if you're going to upgrade your tech with a software, upgrade or whatever, that you're going to do the same for yourself. And I don't disagree with you. I think you're absolutely right. But do you find you attract maybe a slightly different audience for that?
I don't. I was an educator for 13 years, so I think that's where the inspiration came from, is watching the connection. But actually, I really think there's a big resonance with mothers, because I think mothers relate to that period of their life where they have children and they're like, this is the dream, right? We have a house and the husband and the kids, and then you're waiting like, okay, when is this supposed to feel good? Okay, wait, is it now? Is it now? And then that moment just doesn't come, and you're like, wait a minute. I have these beautiful children. I have the life I've always dreamed of. What's wrong? And it's because sometimes we forget as mothers to take ourselves on the journey. We forget to care for ourselves the way we care for others and to put our needs in the forefront of our lives. Yeah. And so I think there's a huge resonance with overwhelmed moms or working moms or just moms, because they feel that need for a reboot. They feel like they're stuck and they're having this identity crisis with being true to who they are as women and honoring their role as mothers. So that's been a huge niche for me and my brand.
Okay. I'm going to ask a similar question to you. Sorry, Adrian, were you going to say something then?
No. I just said cool.
I'm going to ask a similar question, actually, Helen, because I'm curious. Pinterest is a very different platform, right? I mean, it is social media in some form, because everything, like, as far as it's maybe not social media, it is a platform. Let's put it.
Let's say it's part of the digital marketing stuff, or let's put it that way.
Okay, let's go with that. Yeah. But is there an audience that appeals to more than others, age-wise as well? I mean, it's a subject I often I look at with marketing, because you want to focus things in a particular area, and to a particular maybe age bracket or a demographic, for example. What does Pinterest really sort of strike you as being the sort of demographic for people in general?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely more prevalent in the US, I'd say. So definitely a bigger sort of, if your customers and your target market are US based, it's a fantastic platform, but it's also big in the UK, Canada, Europe generally, but US and UK and Canada probably the biggest. Age wise, probably sort of, I would say maybe like 25 plus. So I feel like it's a platform that people, they come to when they're coming out of university, they're starting to really sort of, they've got a lot of things going on, when you can be a little less single-minded and you're sort of got, planning of this, you've got events, you've got life events, you've got work, you've got this, that, you kind of start needing to be able to organize your thoughts a bit better. And that kind of multitasking and that kind of overwhelm starts to kick in a little bit. And Pinterest is brilliant for that. So from the kind of analytics and the stuff, work I do with my clients, generally I'd say probably 25 plus. Okay. But it's not one of those platforms, in my opinion, that's kind of moving. So it's not like when the 25-year-olds become 30-year-olds, it's then 30-year-old plus. It seems to kind of stick with 25-year-olds plus.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Adrian, have you had much experience with Pinterest or doing anything like that at all?
No, and even since we started talking about that, I actually went and looked at a few things. I know someone that does very well. He has an Amazon training business, something like that, and he uses Pinterest as his main marketing. But in my discussion with him, and he's considered a big guru in his world, he said that when he tried to do marketing on Pinterest as a guy, he had zero success.
Oh, really?
When he hired a lady to do it for him, that was very well. She knew how to talk. He told me it's very much a female-oriented platform. It's not like you can go there as a male and approach other maybe females, other girls, or ladies for any partnerships or collaborations, because they will not even talk with you. And I was looking now on the statistics that they have 355 million users, something like that, and about 70 or 75% are women in that. So
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely shifting. So I'd say if you spoke to me maybe 2 years ago, that percentage of women users would be a lot higher. So I think it
was higher before.
Yeah, so the tide is turning, as in we're getting more new users signing up are men. But at the moment, it is a platform, I would say, dominated at the moment by women. Yeah, and I think that's the kind of I don't know, from my perspective, I like it because it's a brilliant mix and my brain works like this of creative and strategic together. And I think that kind of element, bringing those two together, is something that appeals, and the visual element can appeal quite a lot to, women in that kind of target market.
Linda, what you wanted to?
Oh no, I was just in agreement. Like I'm a Pinterest babe. So
but
it's so funny because I've used it. I'm a user, but I've never done business or used it to propel my business. So this is so interesting to me because it's like if I use it so much, I'm surprised I haven't made the connection sooner.
Yeah, and I mean, your kind of industry would do brilliantly on there. And actually, do you know what? If you search on there, you find the most random businesses just doing really well on there. I mean, I think like my local pest control guys, they're on there doing really, really well. So it can work in so many different industries. But yeah, I mean, kind of life coaching, life purpose, that would do brilliantly on there.
Very cool. We've got a couple of people made comments. One's made about three questions. We've got a question coming as well. Hakel Rad Haoni. Haoni.
I think that's how you spell it.
I do apologize if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm really bad at second names, but
fire the question.
So I've got a question, which is going to say in a second. Yeah, please ask us your question. While you're thinking of the question, my mum has also said, "Good evening, Elliot, Adrian, Linda, and Helen." You feel honoured, guys, because Mum usually just says, "Hi, Elliot and Adrian, and guests." So,
Thank you.
So big love, Mum. One of our biggest fans, of course. And when Hakel asks the question, then we'll bring that onto the screen as well. Anybody else that's watching, of course, if you want to ask a question or make a comment or give us some love hearts or thumbs up, then use whatever you need to. On YouTube, you can give us thumbs up. On Facebook, you can drop us comments. But please do that. If you like what we're talking about, want to ask any questions, then drop a comment in, and we'll make sure we bring that onto the screen. So interesting that you both. I mean, obviously, you're a user, Linda, and I think maybe that you need to, after this show, you're going to be getting on there and maybe utilizing it for your business as well, right?
Absolutely. I think, it's to hear her talk is brilliant. I mean, and it's, like I said, it makes so much sense. I don't know why it's taken me this long to get to the epiphany.
Isn't it funny, though? Sometimes we have these things in front of us. I mean, I've known about Pinterest. I haven't really looked at it properly. I tell a lie. I did look at it a couple of years ago, confused the hell out of me. But then I'm not being funny. A couple of years ago, all social media confused the hell out of me. And here we are now all over the bloody thing. So, but sometimes these things are there and you sort of, you need somebody else to come on and help you to pivot. And that's what this show's about. If we can all learn something, then we go away, we take something away. That's great. Right, Hakel has got his question. Let's bring that on. I appreciate the time that you're making for everyone. I don't think that's a question, it's a statement, but thanks very much, Hakel. But when you've got a question, let us know what that is. Okay, so I love the fact that you're very much into the soul and the stuff like that, Linda. I really like that. And also, I love the creativity and the content side of things from you, Helen. What do you guys really think? Okay, that is, you can reboot with content and you can reboot. But let's go with Helen first, as we asked her a question first earlier on. If you were to reboot your social or some marketing, and you were to use Pinterest, and you had a business, let's think of something, Adrian. What you reckon? What should we give her as an example? I'm going to put you on the spot here, Helen.
Yeah, definitely. And now I have the perfect thing: jewelry business.
Jewelry business.
Talking about the bridal part of the jewelry business. That's it. I think that's specific enough.
Yeah, so you've got a jewelry business, you've been using other social to do some marketing, and you think, well, okay, Pinterest, I want to reboot. I just want to do something with Pinterest because I hear there's about 70% ladies on there that could be interested in buying some jewelry for their wedding. What would be your advice? What sort of jewelry is it? Let's give her, because it's a bit general, that is.
Pearl jewelries. Pearl.
I thought you might say that, to be fair. Here's a large pearl client, basically.
I was thinking diamonds, but it's okay.
I was thinking diamonds, but there you go.
Yeah.
I know everyone thinks about diamonds. That's why my customer is a bit more difficult, because I have to be different.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, the brilliant thing about Pinterest is they've set it up so that it's designed to get people off their site, which is just totally unheard of. Like Facebook, YouTube, they all want to keep you on their website for as long as possible. Pinterest is set up to take you off the website. So the way I like to look at it first is kind of almost like forget about Pinterest. It's about what is that customer journey? Like, you need to meet your customers where they're at, what they want. And you need to take them through a process, take them through the journey, funnel, whatever you want to call it, to get them to the point where they're ready to buy from you. So that's literally business. That's as simple as it is. Let's keep it nice and decluttered, nice and simple. So Pinterest is just one step in that entire process. So the first thing I would say to you is figure out, what does that process look like for your clients, your customers who want to buy these this pearl jewelry? Why are they wanting to buy it? Is it for themselves? Is it for someone else? Is it for a special occasion? Is it because they just want to treat themselves? Are they celebrating? Like, where are they at? And then use Pinterest to get in front of them for that particular reason. So if, for example, your target market are all about buying pearl jewelry because it's their birthstone. Is that, I feel like I want to say it's June. I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
Is it a birth thing, Pearl? I mean, I don't know. Maybe
it is a birthstone. I don't know what month it is. I'm not so hot on those things. But yeah, essentially, if that's the reason why they're there, and you figure that out, let's create content around that. So let's create some kind of content on your website, which you can then put on Pinterest that says, check out what your birthstone is and get some jewelry. I'm just making this up.
We have an article about that.
Perfect.
Already.
So then we create pins that basically direct them to that content. So we're creating interesting headlines, things that are going to get them over there. So that's the first way to use it. The second way is directly to your product. So you can create product pins that actually just showcase your product on there with beautiful imagery. They can scroll through it. They can directly click through to your shop and buy it there. So there's loads of different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
But Pinterest is only as good, or any marketing strategy really is only as good as the content you put behind it and the process that's in place. So if they get to your website and they turn up and it's, I don't know, like junk and it takes 5 hours to load, and you know they can't get what they want, or they get there and you're selling, I don't know, duck calls or something and nothing to do with what you directed them for, then they're going to bounce off. So the responsibility is Pinterest.
Very specific.
I know, that just came into my head. It's very random.
Where on earth do you get that from?
I don't know. It came, you know, these things. But anyway, it's you got to have the right content there. So the Pinterest will get them there. Then it's your responsibility to do something amazing with them when they're there.
Okay, interesting. It is a slightly different strategy, isn't it, than using social media? Is a very different strategy, really. It's a sort of a tweak on what you're doing. In fact, I would think if you do it right, as you said, it could be way more effective. Because let's face it, Instagram. I mean, TikTok, let's take out the equation because it's very different. It's very new, and I think it's for a particular purpose. But Instagram and Facebook are like frigging magazines now, aren't they? It's like a magazine. You're flicking through a magazine now, aren't you? That's the way I see it. And you've still got to grab people's attention. But the call to action on those isn't, I don't know that it's as clear anymore that it used to be. And if it is too clear, you feel like you're being sold to. You can't bloody win. You can't bloody win, can you?
Yeah, actually, it looks to me a bit more like maybe Pinterest is like a magazine. Instagram and Facebook is more like looking through someone's personal life and then having annoying door-to-door salesmen at your, coming at your door every 3 seconds, something that every 3 posts. Put it out there.
That's a really fucking good analogy. I like that. It's actually a very good analogy. We're going to take that as a snippet out of this video, and we're going to whack that on TikTok.
It's almost like when you have a good Netflix and chill night, and then the pizza guys keep knocking every 3 seconds. Do you
want to buy another pizza?
Exactly. Yeah. Hi, Kelly's asking, what are the businesses doing well at the moment? Well, Raquel, I might be judged for that, but funeral businesses are doing quite well. All right. If you want to talk about that.
I mean, that's dark, but yes, they are. Online businesses. On another note, I mean, online
e-commerce businesses.
I was so unexpected, Adrian.
I tell you what, this show's full of it, isn't it? I think we could, before we started recording, it was going to be like this, wasn't it? It was definitely going to be a renegade show. This one, wasn't it?
We're trailblazers. It's okay.
We love it.
Last time we had a show called Fuck the Norm, so today we continue that show. But basically, Heikel, any online business that you want to do, go on a specific niche. Always you have Q4 now coming up. Loads of people are going to buy online just because of the COVID-19. They will try not to go into shops. All right, there'll still be people that will be afraid to go into large crowds. So just do something online and offer them something to buy online for the loved ones.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I think also like anything that kind of reimagines the old way of doing work and business, I think is just killing it. Like you've seen it with Zoom, you've seen it with like all these online platforms, but anything that essentially takes something that traditionally was like an offline thing and helps you to put it online, those businesses are killing it as well.
And even as a consumer of Pinterest, I've noticed that since the pandemic, the content is very different because it's adaptive to the society. So as people need different things, depending on the experiences of the external, I find that like for me, my Pinterest feed is, and I don't know what the algorithms are or, but my searches have certainly changed in what I look for on Pinterest. And so now I have this new evolved feed that's really much more inspirational than it used to be.
I'm intrigued. Definitely. I'm going to have to be checking out. Can we note that down? We're going to have a look at check Pinterest out. I honestly, I'm going to have a chat with you, Helen, after the show actually, because I definitely want to find out more about Pinterest and maybe some advice. I don't get messed up with the noise, and maybe we'll chat about that in a second. But Linda, I mean, let's put a similar question to you. Rebooting. So that's about rebooting content now. If I was to use a situation, for example, and I've been listening to Tony Robbins quite a bit over the last week or so. I listened to a lot of Jim Rohn as well recently, and I'm starting to personally develop a lot more. I've talked about this quite a lot on shows because in essence, if I can help people to do that, and I've always been quite skeptical that that it can only be a good thing, right? And personal development is a great thing to do. You know, we never stop learning, and I think I've always learned in certain ways. I'm now trying to adopt different ways. But, you know, let's say, for example, I'm an entrepreneur that's been working, silly hours, okay, doing way too much for the business and not enough for myself. And I need a reboot, okay? So, in essence, we're talking about me here, okay? But there's lots of people like me and, listen to like Tony Robbins, or they don't class them as motivational speakers. They're strategists, okay? A lot of people put these speakers into brackets of being motivational speakers, but most of them are strategists. It's about strategizing what you're doing, and in essence, that can motivate you. But you motivate yourself, right?
Yes.
But if I was to want to reboot and I wanted to reset a bit and think this is not going, I'm actually going to burn out at some stage soon. And everybody's different, of course, but there's entrepreneurs a lot like myself, and I'm sure we've all been there. All four of us, have been there, and we've talked about this. What would you try and sort of get somebody to try and do? Because you can't tell somebody to do something, but what would you try and get them to do to try and reboot, to get that sort of, I don't know, reset so you have a decent balance?
100%.
A day, but what would you do?
I think you brought up a really good point. It's that moment of awareness within yourself that like you're at the burnout point, right? Because I can tell you like, hey, Elliot, it's time to slow down. Like you're going too fast. But when you're in it, sometimes you don't see the solution when you're standing too close to the problem.
For
and
sure.
I think that is so integral, is to really check in with yourself. We don't do enough of that. We're so busy going that we need that pause where we can check in and say, how's it going, Linda? And have those conversations with yourself. I say it all the time. If I would speak to myself the way I spoke to my best friends and to the people I love, I'd have a much better relationship with myself. And I think once you're aware of what areas of your life aren't working, is it your marriage? Is it that you're working too many hours? Is it the disconnection you feel to your family? And really pinpoint. And sometimes it's overwhelmed because you realize like, shit, there's just a ton that's not working.
Yeah.
But that is too overwhelming. And what ends up happening is you just face the other direction because you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going because facing all of this is too overwhelming. But you stop and you pause and you say, is there something I can work on now? Maybe I can wake up each day and feel grateful for what I have. Maybe I can wake up each day and move my body in a way that I haven't moved it before. Maybe I can wake up and 10 minutes earlier and have 10 minutes of alone time with my spouse and create 10 minutes of speaking and intimacy, because I know that once that alarm clock goes off, we're all going to scatter in different directions. And when you create those moments, those little pockets of goodness, and you become aware of where you need those, I think the reboot takes care of itself.
Yeah, interesting. There's a few things that I have done there, and I definitely think I'm probably in part of a reboot at the moment. To be fair,
yes, Elliot, I love that.
which is all good. But in doing that, I actually like to impart that to people as well. So whether it be clients or friends, if I've learned something that is definitely made a difference in my life, then I like to do that. I think that's just. I think we're all sort of, so we like to serve, don't we? All four of us here, we do roles that we like to help people, and we want them to better themselves and to come up with new things and to give ideas, impart stuff that we've learned. And I think most of the people we get on the show are like that, because that's why we're here. We're here to chat. And I sort of have said to you guys about that we changed the format of the show recently, because I think we wanted to get in and start chatting rather than talking about, somebody's history that necessarily isn't overly important at that stage. We get to know that through the show. And I think, that was a reboot in doing that with the show as well. And in business, we do reboots quite regularly, don't we? If you're smart this year, you would have rebooted and pivoted your business for sure. So why the hell don't we do it with ourselves more? So, definitely what you're talking about really, really works for me. I mean, Helen, have you had that stage where you've had to sort of reboot yourself, forget the business and forget those things, but, and sort of take stock of things?
Yeah, more than once, definitely. I think, right? Yeah, I know. And it feels like a continual cycle. And I find myself in this situation where I know that when I put time into myself and I put time into my personal development and learning and really prioritizing, everything improves. Like my life improves, my relationship with my husband improves, like my business improves. But then I stop doing it. And that's the bit I never get about myself. I baffle myself sometimes. And I'm sure other people do that as well. Like if you know something's working really well and it's really important and you enjoy it and it makes you feel good, why does the human brain, or just maybe it's just me, why do you stop doing it? Like that's what I don't understand. And then why do you force yourself into a situation where you then have to reboot again? Because reboot suggests that you've kind of gone up and we've gone kind of down a little bit and now we need to reboot and go back up again. But why not just do that?
I honestly believe, if you want my 2 cents in it, that we don't challenge ourselves until we get uncomfortable, and then we have to make a decision about our discomfort. Like, am I going to face that discomfort? But I think it's like all things, you get a diagnosis from the doctor, and in that moment you're like, I'm going to eat better, work out, I'm going to change everything. If my whole life's going to be different after this moment. And then you're better for a while, and maybe your old habits come back in. And that's just one example, but it's the same with our marriages. Like you have these great moments with your spouse, and you're like, yes, we're on the road again. And then it isn't long before you forget to write those little notes or drop little kisses or whatever it is, because we just get comfortable in our new habits. And so we have to create new habits in order to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And then that's where growth comes in. As soon as you're comfortable, as soon as you don't know what, there's no ups and downs, I feel like that's a good indication that something needs to be rebooted, because it's when you flatline, that's never a good indication of anything. It's death of your soul, of your spirit, of whatever it is. I think how we know we're alive is when your heart rate goes up and down. As soon as that line is flat, you've got a problem.
I think Tony Robbins is always saying, you're a fan of Tony Robbins. Elliot, that to like run away from pain or to move towards pleasure. That's like the two big motivators. And actually the moving away from pain is kind of the bigger one. That's the bigger push, which is, I think, is kind of what you're saying there, Linda, as well.
Yeah, usually he has that thing in his show when he tells people to walk on
fire.
On fire, exactly. Yeah. Well, you can do it at home as well. Especially if you're a parent, just walk on Lego. That's way.
or an upturned plug. When you say.
An upturned plug. Yeah, that's it. I tell you what, Adrian, you've got what's happened to you this evening? You've had this sort of like this boost of humor come out. I love it.
Linda and Helen, I don't know, they've done something that just made me feel more
comfortable. maybe I should do a tour with this show and start off like this regularly, like literally be right up against it, and it'll shit on the hell breaking loose just before the show. It works. But I think you're right though. It's funny you should say what you just said, Helen, and obviously you just reiterated that, Helen. It's not even complacency, is it? It's not like you get complacent with things. I think that word maybe lets people know what that is, but it's not just complacency, because you're right. When things are sort of okay and they're going like that, but you just don't really do a great deal about it. In fact, that's when you probably get complacent. If you manage to find some way of like an alarm going off, letting you know that things are going okay, and then did something about it and sort of just changed and that would stop that from happening. So you don't need to reboot, but then that would put you out of business, but Linda, wouldn't it? So we don't want that, do we?
That would actually be excellent. We'd all be living our best lives. I'm all for it, actually.
Yeah, no, I'm joking, but I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's about, I think you've got to review yourself all the time and not be too harsh and not critical. But I do think in that personal development, in what you do, Linda, with your clients, and by the sounds of what you do, you probably get people so they don't have to reboot. You want them to pick up certain things that before you get to that dip or whatever, because let's face it, it's a lot harder to get up out of it than it is to maybe change life a little bit so that you don't get to that stage.
Absolutely. And, some people are mistaken by it's like, an awareness of where you're spinning, turn it off and wait, and then reboot and turn back on. And some people think turn it off and wait means do nothing, and they're turned off by that. Like I'm running a business, I'm running a household, I can't just turn off and wait. But turn off and wait is whatever you need to do to connect with where you want to go next. That's the pivotal perspective. It's like, I'm here and I don't want to be here and I want to go there, but I've got to make some changes if I want to change direction. So what are the changes that need to be made? And constantly have that compass needle be shifting with your as you grow, then your needle changes direction and you follow. It's when you don't follow, when you let your dreams go one way and you keep going straight, that's where the disconnect is. You've got to make the turns with it. You've got to make the pivot with it.
Yeah. If you're having a difficult day, Helen, what do you do to change direction? Do you do anything in particular?
Yeah, so I'm a big sports person. I love to just put on the sports kit and just go and do something that gets me sweaty.
Okay. What type of sport?
If you go for a run.
I think she likes more like the contact sports, you know? MMA, UFC, things like that, boxing.
Are you? Has you been to boxing? And she's going to cough her guts up now, but silently. For anybody that's listening to this as a podcast, Helen is dying slowly on the screen.
Yeah, so
I don't think her laughing is helping right now.
I was joking about the funeral thing. Just don't.
The funeral thing's back again.
Oh my goodness, sorry. Had a moment. Yeah, so basically, contact sport. I play a weird sport called korfball. It's like a Dutch sport.
What was it? Whoa, wait a second. What's that called?
It's called korfball. It's a Dutch kind of basketball, netball mix.
Is it? Now, I like the sound of that. I'm half Dutch. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I do. I like to just kind of get outside, stop doing what's kind of driving me slightly crazy and go and do something different, basically. Interrupt the pattern. I think that's the thing. Yeah,
that's what I was trying to get at. We do that. Adrian and I've jumped in the pool before, just gone for a run. In essence, just get out of the bloody office and do something different. Go for a drive. In fact, going for a drive has been the thing recently that's actually done me a world of good. Rather than listening to business or even listening to Jim Rohn or whoever it may well be, I just put some house music on, which I love listening to all the time anyway, and I just go for a drive and clear my head, and it works. And in fact, actually become creative again. What have you been doing recently, Adrian, to shift stuff if you've been getting a bit stressed?
Yeah, just
I'm not being funny. Since you've gone to bloody Romania, things have changed anyway for you, haven't it? So you've definitely been living the life, haven't you?
Well, I've been to parties, stuff like that for weekends. I've been that was paragliding or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever I've done.
Listen, I don't want a list of all the nice things you've been doing. What do you do when you're pissed off?
Stuff. I got stressed a bit recently, but I just went for a walk. That was all,
Yeah. Just change the scenery.
Exactly. Yeah. Fresh air. Usually that gets me. Contact sports as well sometimes, but at some point you have to stop.
Yeah, I like a bit of contact sport, but we can't talk about that, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's probably. So, don't worry.
Don't we all?
No, I'm just. And just thing I was saying, because sometimes, especially in our relation, we need some up and down. So basically, lately I was kind of breaking up with Fabi every week just to not get comfortable. Yeah.
That's a bit harsh. We love you. We love you, Fabi. God dear. How does she put up with you?
Yeah, right now.
Oh my God.
Good now. We're stable now.
Yeah, good. I'm very pleased. I'm pleased for you.
Again.
Yeah, you don't want to be one of the people. You don't want to allow her to be looking for funeral ads on Pinterest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got to keep it nice and steady.
She's out from Pinterest. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so Helen, I've got to ask you, what have you picked up from what Linda sort of said this evening? Have you picked up anything that is going to help you to maybe change things a little bit, or an idea or something? Always intrigued to see what you pick up from each other. I think this is going to be part of the show we want to ask.
Or if you have
definitely.
You should have told me that at the beginning.
You would have listened to what I said then. Yeah, absolutely.
If I told you that at the beginning, it wouldn't be as much fun, would it?
Yeah, it wouldn't stump us. Stump the guest. That's the next show.
Yeah, for me, like the analogy that makes total sense. I sometimes it can feel a bit what's the kind of word? Wishy-washy is not the right word. It can feel a bit kind of abstract and a bit difficult sometimes to kind of understand. Like people say, identify your limiting beliefs and then move forward, like process them. And you're like, what does that even mean? Like, how do you process something? That's difficult. But for me, the analogy of kind of pressing that reset, spending some time, doing what you need to do to kind of re-energize, get back in touch with your values, that kind of thing, that makes total sense to me. And my logical brain is just having like a little field day right now, just to finally be able to understand kind of what it looks like.
Well, I think you're right, Helen, because we've got a lot of so-called coaches and life coaches in the UK that, and I know this is the same in the States, and we probably had a couple a few months ago, but we've definitely looked at the sort of guests that we've got coming on now, and it isn't the right sort of show to be getting on life coaches that are at the beginning of their journey and think they're a life coach. I think that's where you're going, Helen. Is there's a lot of people that there seems to be a script. And the script to me is what made me skeptical for so many years, because I just heard the same shit. But I like it when somebody comes out with an analogy, because if they've got an analogy for it, the likelihood is they know that actually means something. And I think you're absolutely right. That's what I quite liked about what Linda was saying as well. I mean, Adrian, we've got the same thought on this as Helen has as well, haven't we?
Exactly, exactly the same thought. And talking about some life coaches or any type of coach, it's similar in any country now. I think lots of them, but we usually, like I said, we just want to hear things that resonate with people, not things like you must do that. You just see that's what works for me. That's why I think it's good, and that's it. If it resonates with you, that's right. If not, just go and try something else. Drink blood, whatever you want to do.
Listen, what your blood? I mean, you're in Romania. What's this death and blood? I mean, I know. Is it Dracula? No, it's not. It's Dracula. Is it vampires? Is it vampire?
Vampire, yeah, but vampires, it's all right there. But that's why I usually when I say Romania, people.
I love this whole dark side of you. I'm not that
it's taking a dark turn tonight.
Yeah,
it is. Trust me, Elliot, it's the first time when he sees that. I don't think you've seen it before.
Well, I've been seeing it coming on slowly, my friend. I've noticed I never see you in daylight.
Is that why you're traveling, Elliot?
Yeah. Fucking, I'm trying to get away.
He's moving up north from London. He's in Romania.
He's afraid of blood and funerals
and death.
And death.
Oh, and Linda, I'm going to ask you the same question then. So obviously you've picked up something about the Pinterest that you're going to now, utilize. Maybe is that the sort of your take?
Well, 100%. I've been so I thought I was really creative in marketing my book, but to be honest with you, there's opens up a whole new scope for me.
Yeah. So you potentially missed a bit of a trick, and it's been there all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like most things, right? They're right in front of you, and you just can't see them. So thank you, Helen.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, great stuff, Adrian. And what about yourself?
I think I need.
He's been busy sucking blood.
Fabi's staying at home now, so I need to teach her. I need to tell her to learn something about Pinterest. Definitely, Yeah. And I've learned that we need to break up a bit more often than that. Just reboot ourselves a bit more. No, but the thing with the reboot, it's interesting, and that's exactly something that I said many times. And unfortunately, it takes a while to recognize when you get a bit too comfortable. And especially in marketing, I think especially Helen will definitely, understand me. And same like Louis said last night, it's very easy to get comfortable. Just stick with what you do and forget about anything new that's coming up. And you just wake up in maybe 2 years, even less than that, maybe 1 year, especially with the situation that we're in now, that what you're doing, it doesn't work anymore. And also you don't know anything else because you're not paying attention to whatever is happening in the world, and in new platforms and in new strategies and stuff like that. So that's why I see a reboot by trying new things as well, or new platforms and learning about new things. I see that as reboot as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm definitely all about trying new things. And this evening doing this from a hotel room with a green screen behind me. So that I still have the feel that I'm in a studio. I'll be honest with you, I'm way more comfortable doing this and having almost like my own the studio traveling around with me than I would if I'd tried to do this in the hotel room with just the normal world behind me. It's like I feel like I'm on stage in a weird way. I've got sort of used to that. So, but we've pushed the limits today, and we've managed to crack on the show. And thank you very much, guys, for bearing with me at the beginning of the show. I've really enjoyed this show. We've had a lot of giggles. There's a load of things to take away from it, and I've learned a lot more about Pinterest. Definitely want to be exploring that. And Linda, I think there's some great things to take away from people that are skeptical about the life coaching sort of arena and people that are in it, but a different way of maybe looking at things. And I think that's really good. So I really appreciate you both coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
So great being here.
Well, Helen, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, so Helen Munshi, or my website, thestartupstudio.co.uk.
Which Adrian has just dropped in the comments there on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. And Linda, where can everybody find you?
So my website is my name, lindakrausbarnett.com, and my Facebook is the same, Linda Kraus Barnett. So I can be found easily in those two places, and then you can reach me through there and figure out all the other places you can find me.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. And of course, Adrian has done the honors and dropped those into the comments as well. So anybody can find those and find you guys. Well, thank you very much again. I'd be really interested because I think you're both fun. I think I really enjoyed you both on the show. If you'd be interested in coming back again and maybe mixing it up with somebody that's maybe not quite as lively as you two, I think that'd be quite interesting.
Come back and you would like to hear about your collaboration, because I'm sure you're going to connect with each other.
Yeah,
after
I was going to say, I want to come back with Linda. I've had a great time.
Yes, me too. I think it's a good match.
Yeah, I'm liking this.
Definitely. Well, in that case, we will definitely organize that again.
We're for business people here.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, if you want to, get hold of Linda or Helen, then there's links there. Or you can get hold of us, of course, and drop us a message. If you want to get on the show and be on the live show, which does get turned into audio and video podcasts, which will be in the next month or so, then you can go to the Essex Business Radio Facebook page, click on send message, and tap on get on a show. And Elliot Bot will very nicely take you through a few questions. And if you're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for you, then we'll get you on the show and we can have a fun chat like this and we can go off on all angles. Who knows where we're going to go? Nobody knows.
Congratulations, Elliot, on your new setup. I think it looks amazing.
Well, thank you very much. It's definitely different. I'm not going to show everybody what the reality behind the scenes.
No, don't break the fourth wall.
But we've made it work. Well, listen, if you want to know anything else that's going on Essex Business Radio, then you can check us out on pretty well every social media platform, apart from Pinterest. But I think we're going to be on there soon. And TikTok, I'm on there, not done a lot, but I think we're going to be on there soon as well. We're going to spread the wealth, spread it out so everybody can find us. It's like virtually Essex Business Radio on demand. Apart from Twitter, which is Essex Biz Radio, BIZZ, because somebody nicked Essex Business Radio, I think. That's not very friendly. Or maybe the characters weren't enough. Who knows? Who cares, in fact? We don't. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with the rest of my evening, as I'm sure we're all going to crack on with the rest of our days, our evenings, mornings, afternoons, nights. Big love to you all. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been an incredible show. We're back next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 p.m. And please, we urge you, if you're going to watch, if you're going to we want you to join in, then drop some comments in and give us some love hearts and thumbs up and give us some support, because we want to deliver stuff. If you want questions asked, then let us know what they are and we'll bring it up on the show. Anyway, for now, guys, have a great rest of your day, Linda. Have a great rest of your evening, Helen.
Thank you.
And good night, Adrian.
Thank you, ladies, and thank you, Elliot, for everything. It was a great show tonight. And I wish you all the best and a nice collaboration.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off for now. I'm going to say ciao for now.
Brown cow.